who used to spend more than rupee lakh every week on rubber bands to tie his money. Such a rich person who lived only on the power of his money. He changes the lodge of his country, and when he is arrested, he builds a private and world's most luxurious jail for himself, within 4 kilometers of the jail, within which rules will be followed not by the government but by the man himself. It is difficult to believe, but the man who can blow 0 crore rupees like a normal paper to learn a hand in winter, about 174 billion rupees of which are gnawed by rats every year, can do all these things easily. I am talking Pablo Escobar, who had the title of world's biggest drug lord and drug mafia, had so much money that once Pablo Escobar had asked his Colombian government to change some rules of the country, in return for which he would have given the loan of the entire country. Yes, the loan of the entire country, which was $10 billion, i.e. around 9,000 crores, he would have single-handedly repaid it, and that too in the 80s. This is the story of Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria, who committed his crime. He started by selling fake illegal degrees, and at one time in his life, he had reached such a stage when he was able to earn 3,340 crore rupees a day. Look, whatever you have known till now was just a trailer. But the real story is that how a car-stealing person selling fake degrees became the world's biggest drug mafia, how many people he sacrificed, how many people he killed, and how he made the government dance to his tunes, and despite that, how he became people's favorite. Let's find out in today's video. The story begins on December 1, 1949, when Pablo Escobar was born in Rio Negro, a small town in Colombia. At that time, even Colombia itself would not have thought that in the form of Pablo Escobar, it was going to give the world such a threat, such fear, and such a criminal, whose story will forever remind people that if a person stops caring about the world, then to what extent can he go? Pablo was very ambitious since childhood, due to which he used to say that he would grow up to become the president of his country. At the age when children were choosing professions like doctor and engineer as their career, Pablo was adamant that he would only go into the politics of his country, due to which in further studies, Pablo chose political science and started his college studies, but the lessons worth lakhs of courses could not teach him. Poverty has taught that a person without money is like a ring without a diamond. Just like a diamond ring can increase the value of the ring to lakhs, a ring without a diamond is thrown on the road. Something similar happened in Pablo Escobar's college time when he was expelled from the college due to non-payment of college fees, and his studies were stopped forever. This incident was enough to take Pablo's life to such a mode where now the money was going to be equal to the dust on his feet, but there it was absolutely impossible to return from it, and that world was the world of crime. It is said that after leaving the college, Pablo started doing small crimes like stealing expensive things or cars, etc., due to which he was able to earn decent money, but during this time he had to go to jail many times. Then there came a time when the greed for money showed him the path of bigger crimes, where now he had to kidnap people or sometimes kill them. On the one hand, the police and the government used to treat criminals badly, and on the other hand, it required courage to kill a known person. But as I said, there is only one way to enter the world of crime and not to return from it. That's why even after struggling with the problem, Pablo did not leave the world of crime. Then he found a partner who was going to make him the king of the criminals of the world, and that partner was drugs. Pablo Escobar came to know that smuggling of drugs is a work in which there is money as well as less effort and less risk. Only by transporting packets of some drugs from one place to another, they get the desired price, and the demand for these things is spread all over the world. Seeing these things, Pablo took his next step in the world of drugs, where right from the beginning Pablo in front of him saw it raining silver. By smuggling just a few kilos of drugs, Pablo had earned so much money that it took him years to earn from his previous crime. Pablo got addicted to this crime. Pablo wanted to take over the drug market of the entire Colombia, for which he had to remove from his path Fabio Restrepo, who was running the biggest drug cartel of Colombia at that time. This not only increased Pablo's fear in the drug market, but also he got control over the drug market of almost the entire Colombia. At the same time, it was revealed that the highest demand for drugs is in America, and it is also the most difficult to deliver drugs there, due to which Pablo now decided to form an official drug cartel, which was named Medellin Cartel. In this cartel, the most dangerous criminals of that time were associated, like Pablo's cousin and his right hand Gustave Gaviria, the mastermind of the entire strategy. And one such person was Carlos Leder, the drug lord of Bahamas, who had bought his own island and converted it into a private air base for drug smuggling, and one was the expert in smuggling and crime, Ochoa brothers. From the very moment of the full formation of the Medellin cartel, the supply of drugs started moving rapidly towards America. The old methods by which the drugs were being sold were now completely changed. To export the drugs, Pablo used 2 big airplanes, and many small airplanes were kept there, as well as many ships were transporting this poison to America through different sea routes, which was done in such a way that even radar signals were not able to catch these ships and airplanes. If these things are surprising to you, then you will be even more surprised to hear that Pablo even had his own submarine in which up to 2,000 kilograms of drugs could be smuggled easily. Submarine, which was just a dream for many countries at that time. Not only this, Pablo had also come up with many more creative ways to smuggle drugs, in which he used to convert genes into drugs, which were further separated from the drugs by putting them in special chemicals. But when the officers came to know about this, then Pablo now converted the boxes in which those clothes were carried instead of genes, into drugs, and in countless different ways to smuggle the drugs. Looking at all these things that were smuggled, it would not be at all difficult to understand that when billions of rupees were being spent to send these things, how much money would have been returned as profit. It is said that in 1980, when Pablo had reached the peak of his drug smuggling, he used to smuggle 15 tons of cocaine in a day, in return for which he would get $60 million every day, which if converted into Indian rupees, would be at that time. It used to be more than 340 crores, and this is not a thing of today, but Pablo Escobar was earning this much money in the era of 80s. There is an incident related to this, that when Pablo Escobar offered $10 billion to the government of his country, yes, $10 billion, so that the loan owed by that country would be fully repaid, and in return, the government would remove the extradition charge from Pablo, in which a country would extradite its criminals. In this case, that country was America, where Pablo was committing crimes, where Pablo did not want to go to jail, although the government rejected his offer. Now, after knowing these numbers, perhaps you will not be surprised to know that Pablo Escobar had kept many planes just for this reason, so that those planes could transfer Pablo's money from one place to another. It was a common thing for Pablo to have many cars, many bungalows, a private sports stadium as well as a private zoo, and to handle all these things, more than 700 servants were engaged in his service day and night. But despite all this, Pablo Escobar knew that in the end he was a criminal, even though he has everything, but because of his crimes, he cannot get the support of the people. That is why he has to create a good image among the people or from them. To connect, Pablo Escobar also did charity with his money. He created many discussions and even built an entire town named Barrio Pablo Escobar, in which poor people could live forever, and this town is still safe in its place. However, there are many people who believe that Pablo did this because he had seen that poverty and he did not want to see the rest of the people struggling in it, while many people believe that Pablo wanted to help the people. He needed support, so he just tried to be good. Although there can be a doubt that it was just a pretense or Pablo Escobar really did not want to see the poor in misery, many arguments can be given on this, but the truth that cannot be denied at all is that due to this, a very good image of Pablo Escobar was created among the people, such an image which could be eaten no less than the modern-day Robin Hood. People were believing that Pablo Escobar was a criminal, but in the end, even after bringing them food, he was the same. Although Pablo's personal image had become quite clear, but his criminal life became much darker. His crimes were not stopping. The crimes committed by him were increasing day by day, and the death of anyone who came in his way was no longer a big news. Meanwhile, 2 words of Pablo Escobar were printed forever in the criminal world. Those 2 words on which he used to decide the lives of people, you too must have heard them many times. Whenever any Platabush person or even any government official interfered in the work of Pablo Escobar, then Pablo would give him a chance to choose one of these 2 things, firstly silver, i.e. money, and secondly lead, i.e. gunshot. Pablo would first try to buy that person by giving money so that he himself would move out of the way. If he did not agree to it, then he would be shot. Discussions of this plot and plomo were echoing in that country at that time. According to many reports, Pablo Escobar was spreading drugs. On the basis of these 2 words, he got so many killings done, of which there is no accurate official record, but if some reports are to be believed, Pablo had killed 1,000 police officers, 200 judges and several thousand common people. In some reports, These numbers are even said to be up to 4,000. However, even if these numbers are not considered completely accurate, still the numbers for which we can be sure or even thinking is enough to scare, but no matter how much the fish fights, it is still in the water. Due to the increasing crimes of Pablo Escobar, the Colombian government decided to take strict action against him. Although earlier also action was being taken against Pablo Escobar, but it was clear that Pablo Escobar was not coming into the hands of the Colombian government, but when Pablo came to know that now the American government is after him and they are going to arrest him. Due to the fear that he would be taken to his country and put in the jail there, he decided to surrender to the Colombian government, although for this also he had set his own conditions that he would not stay in any ordinary jail. He demanded that the jail in which he would stay would be built by himself and no police officers or planes could come within 4 kilometers of it. Later on, Pablo Escobar surrendered himself, but that jail was no less than a palace, such a jail that even Arab husbands could not come to jail. It is impossible to see the same prison in which Pablo Escobar was living, and the name of this prison was La Catedral, the most luxurious prison of that time. It is a matter of thought that to what extent money can give power to a person so that he can change the rules of the government of his country on which the entire country is being run, but the rules can be changed but not his habits, and the same habits of Pablo were coming back to him even after staying in that prison. Pablo was not giving up on his habits, he was operating a drug business there too. Even while sitting there, he was delivering drugs and at the same time he was making enmity with the group of other drug carts. During that time, he came to know that the Colombian police was thinking of sending him to the local prison. The very next moment of knowing this, Pablo Escobar escaped from that place, and now a cat and mouse race started in which the Colombian officers traded with the American army were like fast cats. They started searching for Pablo Escobar everywhere, but there was some reason that he became the most powerful criminal in the world, and because of this, due to his intelligence and wisdom, he escaped from the police for 6 months. But finally Pablo Escobar was caught in a small house in Meta City of Colombia, for which it is said that he was caught by tracing the phone call which he had made to talk to his family. From that call, his location was known. Officers surrounded his house, and then in the cross-firing, Pablo Escobar says goodbye to the world forever, although many people and even Pablo Escobar's son believe that Pablo Escobar died not due to police firing but because of suiting himself, because he believed that it is better to die in the soil of his own country rather than rotting in the jail of another country, and here the other country was America, which became the enemy of his life because of Pablo's actions. And thus his story came to an end, which was enough to teach the whole world again how far poverty can take a person and to what extent a person can become dangerous if he kills the humanity within himself. Friends, this was the whole story of Pablo Escobar, how he became the world's biggest drug lord from a poor boy. Whose next story do you want? Do tell by commenting.